Obviously, we're back on the 360. It's exactly in the same state we left it so long ago. I literally haven't done anything to it since I believe it was the time lapse of the disassembly. Changed a few things that I wanted to do, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, if you remember, originally my battery tray was quite thin and went the whole length of the frame. I've changed that for a couple of reasons. First, I was originally going to use an anti-gravity battery, which I may or may not do, but I wanted other options. Because I had such a thin battery box, my seat, I had made my seat pan I had made out of fiberglass. It actually had a lot of moldings that had to fit around the battery, had to fit around, you know, the starter solenoid and everything else. I've since, in a few of the builds I've done, I've kind of come to the conclusion sometimes anti-gravity just isn't the best choice. But I still may go there, but I wanted other options. Something, you know, using something like a sealed lead acid or something. Obviously, this wouldn't drive the starter. This would be a kickstart bike if I went somewhere like this. It might even be with the anti-gravity as well, and that's the whole point. I basically kept this part of the seat pan, which is original, and then I've done just sort of a typical 2.5 inch sort of box. Talking about the seat pan that I talked about before, I actually used it on a different bike. I had a CB400. I'll put a picture of it up. The leather went really well, and it actually fit that frame well. So I ended up using that for that bike. I think I'm going to end up doing a black seat on this in the end. Anyway, so I had to make a new seat pan, and for the first time, I'm trying my hand at a metal one. So saw me cut out the metal. What you haven't seen is basically I've added this little box, then I added a couple little tabs to sort of finish up the bottom of it, so it'll make it really clean to put the upholstery on. The little tab, if I get it centered, it kind of slips in there. That one bolt goes in underneath and bolts up, and that's basically it. So that's the tray. I still haven't decided if I'm going to, the sides just peek out from the frame a little bit. I haven't decided if I want to round them with a hammer or not, or just leave it flush on the top. My instinct is flush on the top, because once I start rounding, I could open up a pretty big bag of worms. When it comes to foam, I'm going to have to do something like this, slip it in. I'll have to put a second piece on just for a little bit of a ramp up, and then just shape it to come up. That'll come later when it's time for upholstery, but I just wanted to cut this out to make sure that kind of works. So all in all, I'm really happy with that. One other thing I decided to change. Originally, I had been planning on coming out with a rear fender. I had a couple of different ideas. I think for now I'm going to scrap that. At least I'm going to give myself the option of bolting it in later, but I'm going to build this to not have that right now. But the holes still exist. Everything that I did still exists, and I could just easily bolt that on. But I think I'm going to go with a really simple LED strip, which is kind of typical and it's kind of been done, but quite frankly, it's a really clean look and I kind of want it for this bike. I'm going to soften it in, so that's what I'm going to do next. So that's as far as I think I'm going to get today. I really can't move much forward without getting into priming and paint and stuff on those metal bits. So we'll come back to getting the light actually in after that's done. So if it's your first time here, this build's kind of been put on hold for probably over a year now, I think. So I'll leave a playlist up here or down here so you can get caught up on the history of this. I also have a number of other builds and some time lapses and stuff. Go check those out. If you want to keep up to date with this and whatever stuff I've got going on, certainly hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you dug this video, please give me a like. With that, guys, we will see you next time. Cheers.